Well, it's D-Day. We're departing out of Detroit Metro. We don't have a lot of luggage. We've got two bags to check, a backpack for me, and a backpack for Terry. My brother-in-law Jim arrived at 3:20 a.m. to shuttle us to Detroit Metro Airport. Jim had to navigate through dense fog, leaving our house at 4 a.m. and getting us safely to the airport by 5:10 a.m. So it was about an hour and 10-minute trip. It normally takes 50, so the fog was significant. At the airport, Terry had to introduce me to United Airlines kiosk stations, where she entered our confirmation number, and the station turned out 3 boarding passes for each of us. She also paid for our 2 checked bags of luggage at the kiosk, and yes, it was $55 for each of our bags, because we chose to fly economy basic and not economy plus. My understanding is that economy plus would have allowed a bit more leg room, a little wider seats, and you are allowed not only one personal item to carry on, but also a carry-on bag. Economy basic does allow one personal item to be carried on, so we crammed what we could into our backpacks. In fact, we crammed so much stuff in, I think that they were heavier than our luggage bags. We then navigated TSA security, and it went rather smoothly, though I had the pleasure of a 2-second pat down by an agent. I must have that look about me, Okay, checked in at the gate with plenty of time to spare, and the passenger load, obviously for this flight, was going to be very light. Hardly any other passengers showed up at the same time. We did, however, have to sit in the plane at the gate for an hour and 20-minute delay due to what was described as minor mechanical issues. What were those issues? Well, the engines wouldn't start. You consider that minor? Anyway, after getting the engine started in an alternate way, wheels were up for our takeoff by 8:30 a.m. and we deplaned in Newark at Terminal C Gate 20 at 9:50 a.m. Now that only gave us 20 minutes to make our connecting flight to Tokyo. We didn't know, but Newark is one huge airport, and we literally had to hustle from one end of Terminal C all the way to the other end to get to Gate 123. Even walking as fast as we could, it took about 10 minutes. And so we not only got steps in because of the distance, but we got an aerobic workout. We made our connecting flight with 10 minutes to spare. We made it, but we wondered if our luggage would. We were grateful we did not have to go through security again, though we did have to show our passports before we were allowed to board our flight to Japan. Our flight to Tokyo was aboard a 777, and the flight was full. Now, United flew us on the northern route to Japan, leaving Newark, flying northwest through New York, and then into Canada, north of Michigan, directly to Alaska. Now, they flew via Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, the northeast corner of British Columbia, and then the Yukon. And we actually ended up flying directly over Anchorage, Alaska. Then we turned southwest over the Bering Sea and skirted the eastern coast of Russia, flying directly towards Japan. Economy seating was a bit cramped, but we received 2 full meals, airline portions of course, 1 light sandwich for lunch, and several snacks and beverages. The funny thing is that they served us dinner first, then lunch, then breakfast. After 13 and a half hours in the air, we finally landed in Tokyo 1 hour early. It was 2 p.m. versus 3 p.m. Tokyo time. So we actually ended up landing at midnight at the beginning of the day for Detroit, and here we are already 14 hours into the day. We also discovered that travelers from the U.S. making connecting flights, thank goodness, do not have to go through security again, with maybe the exception if you had to change terminals, which we did not. So no immigration or customs either. We simply proceeded a few steps to the departure gate, which was right across from our arrival gate. Just as a side note, when we boarded the flight to Japan in Newark, economy class boarded in the rear of the plane. When we deplaned in Tokyo, we deplaned at the front of the plane and passed through business and first class accommodations. I made this mental note. If I ever fly a similar distance, I don't care how much it costs. I'm flying first class. Sorry, kids, about your inheritance. Now, one of our concerns was navigating Japan's Narita Airport. Everything at Narita Airport is both in English and Japanese, as well as the announcements over the public address system. Terry also used U.S. currency at the Japanese cafe in the airport to purchase a Coke and a mineral water, and the cost was $2.50. She also used U.S. currency to purchase a snack bag of nuts and didn't have the exact change in U.S. currency. So we now have 39 yen in coinage, equal to approximately 30 cents U.S. Now we waited to board the plane to Guam, and it was a 3-hour layover. And as we began to wait, it was us and 2 other couples at the gate. We waited for about an hour, and then suddenly more and more people began to filter in, and the gate was just packed. It was going to be a full plane ride all the way to Guam. We departed Tokyo on time on the 737. We had a 3-hour layover there. But every seat was filled, and it was very cramped. But thank goodness it was a shorter 3-hour, 18-minute flight to Guam instead of the 4-hour that they had told us it might be. We deplaned, we had a long walk to immigration and then to baggage and customs. And because of our delay in Detroit and with so little time to make connections in Newark, I thought for sure our luggage would not have arrived. But surprise, surprise, it was there. Jeff and Caitlin were waiting at the airport after 24 hours of our travel to Guam was complete. So now that one's in the book. Now we are actually 15 hours ahead of our friends in Michigan as we cross the international date line in our travel.